Oh my goodness, here we are. And by we, I mean me. Welcome back to the Related Podcast with yours truly, Amanda Bybel. Well, it's actually Amanda Kuttner, but my business wouldn't have made sense as the Inner Beauty Bible if I went with my married name. um so it's been a while since we've been back here. I know we had said that we were going to take a a summer break, and until we were going to get back into things, as pregnant, all the things, and life happened and we had to go and put things on the back burner for a little while. And me and Carly were talking about getting the podcast up and going again, and there's always something in between, like the two of our schedules aligning, and to really put into this what we wanted to create. And for now, I am going to take Related by the horns and make it the Amanda entity until there's time and space for Carly to join back in. And I'm really excited because I swear, I always said that I should have my own talk show, my own radio show, because I could literally be in a forest and talk to a tree. I have so much to say all the time about all the things. So I'm just really, really excited to start this again. And what better time than starting in the new year, right? Because I feel like we all have these amazing goals that we always set for the new year, amazing manifestations, things that we're writing down that we want to achieve. So for me, this is a personal goal of mine to stay committed and consistent with the Related podcast, because we have so many incredible active listeners who love listening to us on a weekly basis. And I'm just really excited to get some really fun content out for you guys. So happy New Year, happy January. Let's get this show on the road. I was feeling super inspired today because I was actually doing a training with one of the courses that I have going on called Manifesting the MILF Mindset. So I wanted you guys to really understand some of the things that I was questioning and asking, because I feel like sometimes when we are experiencing the, oh my God, I can't do it, or the stopping dead in our tracks because we haven't done something before, it really only requires some simple questions and some simple shifts and changes. So as we begin 2023, oh my God, I literally cannot believe that it's 2023. First of all, when I was thinking about it, in my mind the other day, when someone's like, as we, gear up to get into 2023, I said 2021. I'm going backwards in time. Anyone else? So funny. Actually, before we get into it, I was going through the Facebook memories and everything, and a picture of me and Brett popped up, taken 10 years ago. That's a decade, people. 10 years together, that's almost a third of my entire life, which is insane. That's crazy. I love you, Brett, if you're listening. I don't think he listens to the podcast, but I really am so grateful for Brett. He's my biggest cheerleader. And yeah, so let's talk about it. So I think one of the things for me every single year is I'm setting these goals. I'm setting some manifestations. I'm visualizing some things that I want to happen for myself. And one thing that has really been able to bridge that gap is having a really impactful morning routine, and having those routines set in place where it really sets you up for success. Because I know it sounds so jargony, and you've probably heard it before, but a kick-ass morning ritual will literally help you slay the freaking day, people. So back in the day, I used to be this night owl. I had this belief that I would never be a morning person. And I think the first step in creating a really awesome morning routine is really just simply smashing the belief that I'm not a morning person. You can decide to be a morning person at any time. So if you decide to set the alarm and wake up with the alarm, guess what? You're a morning person on that day. And when you continue to do the things that you say you're going to do on a daily basis, you just become that person. So because I had never really identified with morning people or a morning routine, I thought the whole concept of waking up early and just to like carpe my diem, I thought it was like completely bogus. And I would just press the snooze button a million times. And I would wake up, I would be rushing out the door. I didn't go to the gym like I said I was going to do. And that was the reason why the alarm was set early. And I would start the day off feeling like extremely stressed, falling behind, not having accomplished the things that I said that I wanted to accomplish. And my mornings never felt good. So I remember making this decision a while back to go to the gym one day before work. And when I pressed the snooze button, I remember waking up just in time for work, feeling so fucking pissed off that I didn't do what I said I was going to do again. So the reason why they say like having a really kick-ass morning ritual, and that doesn't mean like 5,000 hours in the morning before your day starts, you have to have like this long ass morning routine. You do what works best for you, but you're essentially setting yourself up for success, whether it's giving yourself a couple minutes or if you're one of those people that needs a couple hours. So when I started my journey of personal development and self-exploration, the idea of having a morning routine was introduced to me. And I didn't completely buy into the magical aspect of it, but I did make the commitment to give it a try before completely like knocking the idea. And what ended up happening, this was back in 2016, I made this like commitment to doing this boot camp for myself, and my entire life changed. And like, I'm not only saying that to like, you know, give you guys the message, but like my life was pretty like on the outside looking in, really awesome. But until I actually did the work and showed up for myself and did the things that I said I was going to do, like I started to feel better. And because I felt better when I woke up in the morning, and because I was doing the things that I had committed myself to, then obviously the rest of my day was set up for success, right? So the first and most important step to this new routine for me was just smashing the belief that I wasn't a morning person. So like I said, I made this commitment to myself to wake up and do high vibe shit. And about a week after waking up and doing these things, I actually was the morning person that I would like I wouldn't make fun of, but I would like roll my eyes at and be like, what do you think you're doing in the morning? But I was essentially like filling my morning with, you know, meditation and gratitude and intentions. And I was working out. And the most important thing for me was those gym visits, because every single year on January 1st, I was coming into the new year saying like, I am going to, you know, be fit as fuck. And then I would never get to the gym. So how do you get fit if you're not willing to commit to the things that will then help those things manifest into reality, right? So I was actually having a conversation with some of the people on the call today. And I don't remember exactly how I said it, but one of the girls was like, oh, that was profound. So I'm going to try and like reiterate it to you guys the way that I said it, but I'm not really sure if it's going to come out the same way. So essentially, we can all journal, right? I do manifestation scripting. So I'm sure if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, then you've heard me talk about like how I write my goals out and my manifestations out in present tense as if it's happening now. So for example, like if I were writing out my December manifestations every day in December, I write, it is December 31st, 2022, and I have achieved da 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 da. So the reason why that's important in writing it out in present tense is it allows you to truly embody and be in the feeling as if something's happening. And that's really how manifestation works, right? Manifestation works because you're embodying the energy as if it happened now. Okay. So then what? Because we can all journal, we can all write things down, but like what happens in between? Well, that's how we come back to now and we think about, okay, so if my manifestation for December 31st, 2022 is to have a six pack, my abs not in the fridge, then what are the things that I need to do December 1st through the 30th so that the December 31st manifestation comes true? So these monthly scriptings and manifestations help us to reverse engineer what that would look like on a day-to-day basis so that we're putting in the action. So someone had asked me a question like, how do you make sure a manifestation comes true or whatever? Well, it comes down to taking aligned actions. And I know that sounds also really jargony too, like slay of the day, take aligned actions, but like that's actually how it works, right? Because if we can manifest and journal all we want, but if we're not taking the actions and taking steps towards creating that outcome, then guess what? December 31st is going to come and go, and you're going to still be in the same spot that you were on December 1st when you wrote out that manifestation or when you wrote out that visualization. So taking a look at what you want to create within that month is going to allow you to create those action plans for the day-to-day basis. And what that looks like for me is utilizing that in my morning routine and embracing that in my morning routine. So I can say, okay, so if on December 31st, I want to have, released my podcast episode, have 3 of them already inside of the drive for the next week and the next week and pre-record them. Guess what? On my daily action plan and on my list of to-dos for the day, like I'm going to have to record the episode. Like I can't just write that down and like hope that magically like my podcast is going to, start up again. So it's all about feeling into what you want to create, what that outcome is, what that manifestation is, and then putting in the actual work. Okay. Having a really juicy and exciting morning routine is so effective because like on December 31st, if you've implemented those things that you do in the morning, guess what? You're going to be living your day high vibe. You're going to be transforming your day. You're going to feel into all of those gratitudes that you're writing down, all of the intentions that you're writing down. You're going to be doing the things that you say you're going to do. And literally no one can take your mornings away from you. So like, this is the time that you get for yourself to really set the tone for the day and do the shit that you say you're going to do instead of waiting another fucking year and then feeling really bad about yourself and wondering, why do I still feel fat, frazzled, and sexually frustrated? Well, maybe it's because you didn't do the fucking work that you said you were going to do last year, right? And that's just a sister helping you out. Okay. So here's the thing that I like to do. I like to start my day with a visualization that I'm manifesting for the month. My scripting that I'd say, I write it out as if it's happening right now, as if, I'm already experiencing the beautifulness of the life that I'm manifesting. It is December 31st or it is January 31st, and I see and I hear and I feel all of these amazing things. But what are the 3 things that you're committing to that will actually allow you to take one step closer to that monthly goal? So that's where like we begin to collapse timelines, right? That's where we begin to actually make progress and make change, is when we take that monthly manifestation or the yearly manifestation or the yearly goal and rework it into an action plan. So maybe it's, I will listen to the podcast. I will follow through with the non-negotiables. I'll share my wins for the day so other people can feel really inspired by me. Maybe your goal for 2023 is to like finally write that book. I know for me, like I have some really big goals for 2023 is to become a best-selling author. It's to eventually be like a TEDx speaker. But in order for those things to happen, like I have to put in the work, right? So I can't be a best-selling author unless I'm writing a page of my book every day. Like I can't be a TEDx speaker unless I'm nominating myself to be on the stage. There's all of these little action plans or action steps that need to happen in order for those things to become a reality. So when you take a look at what you're committing to, that is all infused in your morning routine, because then you can set the tone for the day. So like, what are you committed to achieving today? What are 3 things that will take you closer to your weekly, your daily, your monthly goals? And when you picture your goals, what what is that version of you doing in the morning? So like something's missing, right? And the reason why you aren't that version of you yet is because you haven't been doing the things that that version of you does. Now, stick with me a second because I can get like really fluffy, airy, fairy, wooey in this whole aspect, but like I want you to think about if you are stepping into your 1 year version of yourself and thinking about like that high vibe honey that you are, and thinking about what are all the things that that version of you does as part of her morning routine. Well, make a list of that. Make a list of those things, write them down and start implementing one by one those things in the morning. And you're going to blow your own fucking mind with how fast that actually becomes your reality when you do it consistently. So maybe it's just, preparing your food for the day because you want to like feel like healthy and in shape. Maybe it's something as simple as making your bed because you want to feel super organized and your home environment feels high vibe. So maybe it's taking the 3 minutes that it takes to make your bed every single day when you get out of bed in order to feel really awesome when you wake up and go into your room and your bed's all made and your pillows are all fluffed. I don't know. I'm just like throwing out examples. Okay. So if you think about that 1 year version of you or that 1 month version of you, what are some of those actions that they do on a regular basis that you're not doing right now? Because maybe it's time to start doing it. Okay, what's something that you can start doing every morning to bring yourself closer to your 1 year self? Take that inspired action, propel yourself forward. Okay. For me, taking inspired action is really, really big. Okay. And it allows me to open up the gates for really awesome shit to happen. Okay. So, like, if you think about your 1 year self and like she's surrounded by like really high vibe people, and right now you're surrounded by, people who drain you. Well, then it's time to start thinking about different places that you can hang out or different people you can connect with. Maybe you need help to achieve your goals. So maybe it's about asking yourself more questions or tapping into other people's resources. Maybe you need to connect with an old friend, or maybe you want to like clean out a drawer and feel really decluttered. But what is something that you can do today that will help you to support that overall goal? Maybe you need to learn something new. Maybe your goal for the end of the year is having that best-selling book, but you have no fucking idea about how to write a book in the first place. Maybe you need to start with just Googling that, learning something new, taking an inspired action. That will be really, really, really powerful. So another thing that I like to do in the morning is to say positive affirmations out loud while looking in the mirror. I mean, some people call this mirror work. Other people call it just affirmations. And if you were like how I used to be, I would call you crazy and I'd call it crazy. But like, it's so effective and it's so cool. And I remember the time where I was saying like affirmations in the mirror and like they just didn't feel true. And then I remember how magical it was when I was saying those affirmations in the mirror, and then it landed and it felt true. And it hit like my heart in a way that I had like never experienced before. But think of like a couple positive affirmations that you can say out loud while you're looking in the mirror. And if they aren't true for you yet, then say that you want to feel that way if that feels true for you. Okay. So something really cool is that I don't know how cool, I guess just a history lesson, a little lesson of the mind here, because I like to call myself the mindset expert. So if you're saying, I am the creator of my own destiny and I'm living a wildly successful life, and you don't believe it, guess what? Your conscious mind is actually going to reject that remark or reject that affirmation and be like, nope, not true. This is not true. And then we're going to take steps backwards. So we'll feel bad about how this isn't true and like, oh my God, feeling all scarce and lack and all the things. But if we can just simply put, I want to feel like I am the creator of my own destiny and I want to feel like I'm living the life I deserve, and that's true, like you want to feel that way, then it's a truth statement, which then allows that statement to integrate. And if you're saying that you want to feel that way, then everything that you do that day is going to literally reinforce those things so that you are activating the law of attraction. Like attracts like, right? So if you're saying like, I am living the life I deserve, or I am wildly successful, and like you don't feel that way, you're creating the energy of like, oh, well, I don't feel that way yet. And that's not true for me yet. And then it's like that low vibe. And then everything in your awareness is going to reinforce that you aren't there yet. But if we say, I want to feel like I am wildly successful, it creates this whole new energetic connection. It creates this whole new way of how you're going to hold yourself that day, what you're attracting into your life, how you're being, how you're feeling, what you're believing, and what you're seeing everywhere that you go, because you're literally going to be feeling like that fabulous millionaire that does deserve the success that you want. So to recap, when you're saying these positive affirmations in the morning, simply put, I want to feel in front of it, because it will allow it to integrate into your subconscious, and then it'll allow you to be, act, do, say, feel, whatever, and then it'll begin to become real for you. Another thing that I like to do in the morning is to make a gratitude list. So maybe make a list of like 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for, but you want to actually get into what specifically you're grateful for. Not just like, I'm rushing through this gratitude list, so I'm grateful for my mom, my sister, my husband, my kids, and my cats. That feels shitty, right? Not that I'm not grateful for them. I am. I'm very, very grateful for them. But like, if I'm just writing those 5 things, I feel like, okay, I've rushed through this list and I was trying to like think of things that I was grateful for. But when I say like, I am grateful for my loving and supporting husband because he cheers me on every day and he really helps motivate me and keeps me grounded when my head gets in the clouds. Like that makes me laugh a little bit. And it also helps me connect to like the real reason why I'm grateful for Brett. Right? If I'm writing, I'm grateful for my mom, like that's great. But I can write like, I'm so grateful for my mom because she is, again, one of my #1 supporters. She comments on every single IG and Facebook post that I have. She shares everything that I share. And she's on every single one of my live videos, cheering me on, being the badass mom that she is. Like that makes me smile, right? Like I feel into that. So when you're writing your 5 things that you're grateful for, feel into the gratitude. Put yourself on the gratitude list. Like instead of saying like, I'm grateful for me, like I am grateful that I said yes to me in my dreams. I'm grateful because this experience of self-development has literally changed my life. Like get into what specifically you're grateful for and why you're grateful for it specifically. Because it really helps you to feel it. Like in your heart, you'll literally feel your soul expand. So that is another thing that I like to do on a daily basis. And like the last and final thing that I think is really important is just thinking about anything that you're still holding on to. Maybe you're harboring a resentment or feeling frustrated or, feeling angry, or you have like this negative belief that you can't seem to like shake. I like to ask myself to list out a couple things that I'm feeling frustrated about or that I'm like holding on to that aren't serving me, because literally like when you write it down, it doesn't hold as much power as it did when it was just kind of like sitting and festering in your head. So if you think about like, what frustrations are you feeling? What did you wake up feeling that set you kind of like off vibe? What's something that you haven't been able to let go of? Because when we have those frustrations or we have those beliefs or we're keeping that mindset of like how we're feeling, well, those are going to keep popping up unless we do something about it. And when we have those frustrations, that's literally one thing that's going to be a roadblock from helping us to connect to our future self and that version of you that you're manifesting or that you're, scripting about at the end of each month. So now that we've wrote down their frustration, what do you want to be feeling instead? Right? Like, what is something that you would like to feel instead? And this is, again, another truth statement. And some of the reasons why like this whole process and like having the high vibe morning routine is so important is because I'm not even kidding you. Like it literally sets the tone for the entire day and your life is going to change. Okay. Like just play a game with me. And for the entire month of January, implement this, save this, download this, whatever you got to do. Just listen. What do you want to feel instead? And if you just simply ask yourself that every day, you're going to see a huge difference in your actions, your attitudes, your behaviors, your outcomes. Okay. So maybe you have this frustration in the morning or maybe you have like this belief that like you're not good enough or you're not smart enough or you're not pretty enough or skinny enough or whatever it is. Like, how is that serving you? Guess what? It's really not. But if you ask yourself instead, what do I want to feel? Well, I want to feel deserving. I want to feel pretty. I want to feel fit, right? If I say I'm not pretty enough to go live on Instagram, well, guess what? I'm not going to go live on Instagram, right? That's the frustration. That's the belief I'm holding on to today. But if I say what I want to be feeling instead, I want to feel pretty enough to go on Instagram. Okay, cool. So maybe you want to go throw on some fucking mascara. I don't know. Like, what makes you feel beautiful? For me, if I put on some eyebrow pencil and put on a little mascara, like my day is so much different than if I'm sitting on the couch with a bowl of potato chips in my pajamas with my teeth unbrushed and haven't done anything to make myself feel better about it. So just simply asking yourself, like, what do I want to feel instead is literally going to change the trajectory of your day, of the moment, of your week, of your month, of your year. Okay. So a really cool thing about that one question of like, what do I want to feel instead? I want to feel pretty. Okay. Or I want to feel successful. I want to feel like a leader. I want to feel healthy. Okay, great. So when I feel pretty, what are some actions I take? When I feel healthy, what are some actions that I take? So this is going to help you devise this amazing high vibe action plan that is going to help you literally transform the way that your day is going, the way that your week is going. And this is a couple of the things that will come onto your daily non-negotiables. So when I feel pretty, I go out and I'm wearing perfume and I get dressed and I put makeup on and I feel awesome. And then maybe when you feel pretty and you have all your makeup on, you're like going live on Instagram or you're talking about your business or you're sharing inspiration, or maybe you want to feel healthy instead. Okay, so when I feel healthy, I eat whole foods that nourish my body. When I feel healthy, I go and do my hot yoga class. When I feel healthy, I call and FaceTime my mom or whatever it is. But what are some of the actions that you take when you feel the way that you want to feel? And just fucking do it. Okay. So one of the questions that I always like to ask myself too is, how will I commit to taking these actions? How am I going to hold myself accountable? So something that really helps me is, what happens if I don't do this? And what becomes possible when I do? So if I don't do the things that I say that I'm going to do, then what's going to happen? Well, probably a whole lot more of the nothing that I've been manifesting, right? Like, what happens if I don't do all of these things that I'm like journaling about? But guess what? Like, that's not the only question to ask yourself. Like, what would be possible when you do these things? Like, how is your life going to change? Like, how is 2023 going to be the best year ever? What happens when you do these things that you say you're going to do? How does this make you feel? How does this reinforce that you do show up for yourself fully? How do these actions support you? Like, these are all such important questions. They bring you closer to that reality that you're calling in. And that, my friends, is exactly how this morning routine works. It's not only about morning routine, but it literally is going to set the tone for your day, your week, and your freaking year. So I am so happy to be back on the Related podcast, to be talking to you guys all about high vibe things. I am so pumped. I'm really sad that I have lost my co-host for now, but she will be back. I know it, because obviously, like, she's my sister and I love her dearly, and she will be back. But for now, we are, again, like I said, parting ways as it pertains to the podcast. But I'm just so excited to bring you guys all the things that are really close and dear and near to me. So I hope this helped you start off your new year in the right way. And remember, you get to decide at any point to become that morning magic maven, to slay the day and to let go of all the shit that no longer serves you so that you can create that life beyond your wildest dreams. So to keep up with the tone of the podcast and what we've done in the past, I'm going to look up a morning routine quote to share with you guys. When you rise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, and to love. I hope you guys have the best ever week, month, year. And I will talk to you all next week. Make sure to leave comments. Let me know how you like this. And if you have suggestions for future podcast topics, you can go ahead and send me a message and a DM on Instagram at Inner Beauty Bybel. And I will talk to you guys next week. Hope you have a great day. Happy 2023. And I will talk to you all soon.